welcome to Colegrove Camellia. This is going to be episode 3, and we're talking about Herbal Tisanes today, aka herbal tea, as you've probably most likely seen it as. What I'd like to start with is that herbal tea is actually an oxymoron, aka the whole point of it being herbs is that it's not actually the tea leaf. As I talked about in our first video, the Camellia sinensis plant is the tea plant. Anything that's not the Camellia sinensis plant is therefore an herb, an herbal tisane, as I said. Tisanes or tonics are often chamomile, hibiscus, rooibos, lemongrass, ginger, some sort of combination of an herb that we're brewing just like tea, but there's no caffeine there in the first place. That's the whole idea why it's not the tea plant. This tea is just a combination of those mixtures of herbs together that we're brewing like a tea. So there was never any caffeine in the plant in the first place, as opposed to something like a decaffeinated tea that has been chemically changed to have the caffeine molecules out of it. So this whole alternative culture to tea has been really great. It's unfortunate that we've just kind of lumped it in together with, oh, it's just another form of tea. But the whole idea behind the science why it's not caffeinated is because it's not actually the tea plant. So we're trying 2 tonics today. The first one's gonna be a hibiscus lemongrass base with a little licorice root. And the second is gonna be a ginger, lemongrass, black peppercorn, and turmeric base with a little licorice root. And it's really exciting. I haven't tried these teas before. These were courtesy of the friends at Spirit Tea, and I'm really excited to kind of have an honest reaction of what the tea tastes like in terms of their tonics. I'm gonna start with the what's called the rosella first. I did about a heaping teaspoon of this rosella here. Here's what that tea looks like. Nice. You have the hibiscus in addition to this lemongrass, as well as that licorice root. Gives a really cool coloration to it. So without further ado, let's actually steep this guy. I brewed this water at 205, slightly below boiling. The nice thing about those herbal tisanes is you can do it at a higher temperature, boiling water basically, and it won't be astringent. You can brew it even longer and it won't change the texture and the taste, because there is no tea to become astringent in there. I think that's why people really love them so much, is that there isn't that, there's room for error, so to speak. And if you brew, leave it in a little bit longer, it won't become astringent and bitey. So it looks like our herbal tisane here is about done. This is that rosella tea like I talked about, that herbal tonic. So we're gonna pour this one out. Oh, I can already see it's pretty strong in coloration. The nice thing about these teas is, again, you can leave them in and it will continue to coax that flavor. As we kind of steep it out here. That cranberry color makes it a very inviting liqueur color that people really like when they see their tea. That's a combination. That dark red comes from that hibiscus. The lemongrass adds that additional flavor, as well as the licorice root. So why don't we try this one? Okay. Yeah, I definitely cranberry, or the cranberry raspberry kind of flavors from the hibiscus smell. Yeah, very, very pungent on the first note. There's not as strong of a note as you swallow it, but that lemongrass kind of cuts through and makes it a well-rounded, a little bit weedy quality to the already strong fruity flavors. I'm about it. Yeah, these hibiscus-based herbal tonics are great alternatives to caffeinated tea. If I really want to, I could brew this again. The lemongrass, again, keeps those multiple steepings. So if you're all about cost efficiency, that's another good thing about herbal tonics, herbal tisanes there. You can get multiple steepings and it won't become astringent. And I think you can get even multiple steepings out of true tea. All right, moving on, we're gonna try the second tea here, what is called Malabar, thanks to our friends at Spirit Tea. This next tea has ginger, the Malabar, black peppercorn, turmeric, lemongrass, and licorice root. And I'm excited to kind of compare and contrast these 2 lemongrass-based tonics. Again, like our true tea in the last video, those herbal tonics, those tisanes, can use 1 heaping teaspoon per 8 ounces of water. Here's that Malabar herbal. you still get that lemongrass, but you have that additional flavors of the ginger and all that that's already in the lid here. All right, let's try this one. Again, that brewing at 205 degree water at 6 minutes is going to be the recommendation. Again, 5 to 10 is kind of your wheelhouse. Come back with the water. So we're gonna brew this one for 6 minutes. I'm gonna make another steeping of those teas, and I can still get that long legwork out of it because they won't get astringent on that second, third, and fourth. So if you really want to milk it in terms of an iced tea after, making a big pitcher, a lot of advantageous outlets with Herbal Tisanes. I personally, they're not my favorite. I'm definitely more of a true tea fan, but I respect their place kind of within tea culture. It's nice to kind of switch up my routine a little bit, try something maybe I don't try every day. So we're gonna let this one steep and I'll come back. After 6 minutes, it looks like our second tea is done. I'm gonna pour it out here. So again, lemongrass based. There's just some additional parts in there. That kind of peppercorn, I'm expecting something a little spicy, almost like a chai. Yeah, peppercorn and ginger, which is often common in the Indian, the chai elements. So I feel like I'm gonna get some spicy, peppery qualities from that peppercorn and ginger combination, in addition to that lemongrass kind of balancing it out. So like I said, lemongrass is one of my favorite herbal tonics, herbal tisanes. So if I'm gonna, instead of doing a true tea, I'm gonna do something maybe more lemongrass based, be able to still have some of that earthy, weedy aromas and flavors to it. Okay, let's try this last one here. Okay, still those weedy elements, kind of almost like a pilsner, a beer. That kind of slight citrus, but not overly pungent. Definitely not overtaking the aroma. You definitely get a flicker of a pepper, like when you swallow that. You grind some pepper on a sandwich, that kind of little accent that you add to it. Definitely has some depth and balance to it for an herbal. Without further ado, that was what is not tea. I hope this was enlightening. I'm sure if you're an experienced tea head, this might be a review to you. There's a whole culture within that in terms of the very health conscious people that's very important, of what health benefits are correlated with the teas that they're drinking. That often comes a lot from the herbal part, herbal side of the tea culture. So with these Herbal Tisanes, you can get a lot with a little, and it's interesting to look at the different herbal combinations they come up with to kind of provide different health benefits or different correlations with that in terms of being health conscious. So I think the herbal non-caffeinated part of tea is important. And again, it is not tea, and I think that's an oxymoron. I think that's the one way I would describe it. Herbal tea is an oxymoron, and I want to continue to get away from that and use words like tisane and tonic to talk about it. And it's already a part of tea culture, but highlighting that I think is important. So again, this has been What is Not Tea. Thank you so much for tuning in to Colegrove Camellia. If you like what you learned today, make sure to like this video and subscribe. We do have 2 other videos already up on the channel, so if you want to check those out, those are linked right here. And in addition to that, what's really great about what we're doing is we're continuing to expand our knowledge, and if you're starting from the get-go in your tea culture, like this is the place to check out. Continue to stay engaged and share this video with a friend. That's my message. Just share it with a friend. If you like what I'm doing, stay tuned each week for 2 tea videos. This is going to be that podcast format, and that second format, something in the field with a friend, with a special guest. So I'm really excited as it continues to unfold here. I hope you learned something helpful today. Share with a friend. Make sure to find us on Instagram and tell a friend. Maybe if you're in LA, you guys can do a tea tasting. We do those as well. Email us, direct message us on Instagram, and create engagement. I want to continue to expand my knowledge of tea and continue to try and push myself and tap into more of the tea community that I feel a part of, and I want to continue to shine a light on through this channel. So thank you so much. I will see you guys on the next one.